disappointed, unfortunately. Okay, so very good morning. My name is Stuart Tan. For those of you who are in here or if you're watching live, a very warm welcome. I'm so glad that you're able to make it on this particular interview with my special guest, the super agent, James Yeow. So James, glad that you could join us.
Thank you. Hello. Hello, everyone.
So I'm going to dive right in because one of the challenges I think that a lot of people are facing during this period of time with COVID-19, right? There's so many things that people are, shall I say, concerned about. But I wanted to, we had a prior conversation and I really wanted to find out your strategies for, living life the way you live because I don't think it's easy when people have home-based learning, quarantine, COVID-19 quarantines. What goes on in your mind when such things actually happen and you have to deal with your kids like that? Home-based learning, you have to take care of them throughout the entire day. Actually, I think you take care of them throughout the entire day anyway, right? So what was in your mind?
Basically, when the COVID happens, right? The first thing that I thought that is things are going to be a bit messy, especially the processes are not in place to deal with the non-face-to-face. And then the very first thing is, since my kids, actually I asked my kid not to go to school 1 week before the quarantine. Yeah, so because I always say that, hey, I think it's dangerous, so just let all stay at home. And I already decided, for the next 2 months, I'm just going to just stay at home and run a childcare center. I'm not going to focus on work because I know, a lot of things. And true enough, I was right because my back-end processors, my company processors was like, hey, it takes about a month to form. And then things were like so messy. So I was like at home, happy, coaching my kids, getting used to the routine and turning on 3 computers for them to do home-based learning and to monitor them to do home-based learning because visiting other websites is so easy, right? So yeah.
Wow. Well, I think also we are in this time where there's this whole thing about digitization. Even I'm getting used to the entire swath and I'm already considered pretty, shall I say, versatile in the use of my technology. And yet I do have trouble sometimes, How has your prospecting and your own personal business been for this period of time? Has it dropped significantly?
Okay, because the first 2 months, like I say, I'm not focusing on business. What I focus on is how are my friends doing? Because most of my clients are business owners, and all the business get disrupted, and that is where I when I talk to them, I don't talk to them whether to follow up on the insurance that we discussed. We don't talk about the savings plan that we discussed. We talk about how's things, how's business, is there anything I can help? Even though I know there's nothing much I can help, but you still somehow touch base to see how everybody is doing. Yeah. So business affected, but expected.
I wanted to kind of like dive into this whole piece in 2 parts, really. My intention, of course, is, I could probably interview, like I used to do, a bunch of people who are very rich, very famous, and all that kind of stuff. But I found that your story was quite unique. So the 2 parts would mainly be your parenting skills and your ability to manage that amid your career.
Okay.
Which still is very, in my opinion, I think it's very illustrious. I know maybe you don't think it's very illustrious, but 16 years sticking to the same thing, it tells me something about your own personal character, and I want to dive into that. So could you kind of highlight or illuminate the path, how you got into financial advisory just as a start?
Okay, maybe I go a little bit beyond that, like how I really able to get in. Because my father is a very China businessman, so he believed in doing business. So to him is that I don't need to study. So I was highest in academic qualification. I had 3 O levels. So I helped my dad to run and my sister to run a provision shop. And in NS time so in NS time I'm a very competitive person. So everything I do the best. So I was awarded the best trainee. So just right before I completed my NS, right, my third sister came and asked me, hey James, do you want to go and take O-level, retake O-level. Because I had only 3 O-level. So I said that, okay, since I'm still in NS, might as well, right, make use of the time. Therefore, I decided to take on, and I passed another subject, English. And with that, then, so
Okay,
right up,
hang on, James.
yeah,
You didn't pass English
I
initially.
didn't pass English. Yeah.
That's
Actually,
unbelievable.
I didn't pass English. I didn't pass most of the subjects, actually.
What was actually your? I mean, you don't seem to come across to me as someone who didn't do well in O levels, to be honest, right?
Okay.
What actually happened there? What was your mindset as a child? And when you almost like flunked out, what was that feeling then?
Well, actually, because I'm just living up to my dad's expectation. He just said that, study is not important, academic qualification is not important. It's more important, how to 做人, how to interact with people, how to do business. So to him, that's why my whole family is very entrepreneurial, including
Oh,
my sister. Yeah, we are all very entrepreneurial.
I
Yeah.
see. Okay, so what did your dad do?
My dad was a businessman, so he started off as a aquarium. Then after that he changed into some fashion shop, anti fashion shop, sell clothes. Then after that we go into what we call that, provision shop, grocery, selling groceries.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you mentioned that your dad shared with you some personal values, like how to treat people and things like that.
Yep.
Uh,
Yep.
what was your greatest impression about your dad?
My dad, my greatest impression, okay, he's a no nonsense person.
Ooh.
So yeah, and he, I think he's very particular about me greeting people. It's like
Oh,
when I see someone, if I don't greet, yeah, so I will either I will get some some counseling from him. Yeah, and I mean like that. So it becomes natural. So to us, right, it's like, oh, we must greet people. Oh, we see auntie, we must greet auntie. We see uncle, we must greet uncle, and don't must greet in willingly kind of thing. Put in some energy to greet people. So that's one thing that has really impacted my life, lah.
right.
And my whole family are like that. So we
Wow.
are very warm, very welcoming. Yeah.
So are you like that also?
Oh yeah.
Oh, really?
I'm like that also. Yeah. So when
Wow.
I see people, I tend to be the first one to extend my hand, to shake hand, or to say
Okay. So
hello.
so what I'm saying is, do you impose this on your children?
Oh yes. That's that. I impose that on my children, because
Okay.
I feel that it is a very useful skill, and which has helped me a lot in life, like really.
Okay. So
Yep.
we talk to me a little bit about this character building,
Mm.
and yeah, because I'm seeing a certain link right now, because although interviews and all that are sometimes a little bit rough or a little bit rigid and static, I thought I'd flow around a little bit in terms of how you think.
Mm.
So tell me a little bit about how this has affected your character in growing up.
Okay.
uh, did that be was that a useful thing for you going into studying your next O levels again?
Uh, okay. So okay, I think it helps. I'm not sure, is it because I'm extrovert by nature, or because I was trained to be extrovert. uh but because whenever we greet people, so our family is was quite famous back then in the Hague community. People always say that, oh wow, the children are very well mannered, and then we receive praises lah, so that motivates us to do more. Yeah.
Right.
And then everywhere, because because we're so friendly to everybody, right? Everywhere we go, right, people treat us very nice. We feel that very welcome everywhere we go. So that makes me feel that, wow, I think it is important, whether we are going to be good friends or buddies, but at least people around us know us, and will say hi to us, and know that, will be friendly to us. I think that is kind of important, because that is how we shape the environment around us.
Okay, that's fascinating, because how were you considered a very friendly person and also a popular person in school?
Yeah, I'm quite friendly, and I'm very friendly, in fact. So uh what was another thing again?
When
Friendly and
when you were in school,
mm,
were you considered very popular?
popular. I think because I'm loud. I'm very loud. So, so you probably can't miss me. And I really, when I say loud, not just in terms of action, but my voice are pretty loud. So because yeah, we play basketball and we like to shout around, right? So I really have a loud voice. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So in that case, what did it feel like when you got your three O levels? Did it feel like an embarrassment or anything like that?
Oh, actually, because I have the highest qualification in my family, right? So so I really don't feel a thing because I have no reference. And among my, because what I see is my sisters are all doing business. My brother is working. Like nothing. I don't feel embarrassed or what. Yeah.
Okay. In that is actually a very big difference. You know, it tells me a bit about the expectations that were put on you as a child,
Mm,
and how that also implies that other people may not actually have the same background as you.
mm.
In terms of your hopes for your own children, right? What do you hope for them to be able to do?
I hope that they can be happy. I
Mm,
think that is one, because I have a lot of childhood. I feel that having childhood is important, and just to be happy growing up. Because growing up is a very happy thing. Um, because I wasn't pressured by my parents for in school, right, and for work, right, schoolwork, right. So yeah, that's how I pretty much wanted them to be, because I leave that to my wife. June is good at studying, so I leave that to her. So yeah, I want them to be themselves and to be confident, and yeah, so that is the main hope for them. I
right.
don't really want to shape them in a particular way, like you must do this, do that, because they are free to explore, and we actually encourage them to explore all different things. Yeah, more of a character wise, and in terms of the mood wise, we will hope that they're always happy,
Mm.
confident, and don't be bullied by people and stuff.
So the first thought that comes to mind is
Mm.
that because you're at home and you're saying, okay, you got to have a life, let's just be happy and so on. How does June fit into that? Because I don't know, for some couples, maybe not for both of you, you might have some special chemistry or something. They are always emphasizing exams. Let's get the
Okay,
results, all that kind of thing. How
Stuart,
how do you balance? How do you
sorry,
balance?
my princess want to say hello.
Oh,
Give me a
hello,
second.
hello. Yeah, this is our co-host for the day. Hello. What's your name? Hello.
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 Yeah, I'm J5. Okay, I
Jay.
got to leave for 1 minute. I got to pass her back to June. Give me a
Okay.
second, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So this is one of the interesting things. The best part about this interview is that I get to capture the kids. Uh, my first thought is, if you got 5 kids and your eldest is 11, I'm calculating the amount of time that you actually have to sleep. You know what I'm saying? It's like, wow, how in the world do you do that? And I'm in anticipation because a couple of things come to mind. It's not just his entry into financial advisory; it's also his entry into parenthood that I'm very excited about. The man has come back.
So sorry.
Not at all. So it's great, In fact, maybe we should have planned for this a little bit better. Bring everybody, bring everybody into the webinar and say hi first. You know. What I was curious because was there any conflict between you and June in terms of like the area of focus for upbringing of the children?
Not at all, not at all. We are very aligned. Yeah,
Wow. Okay.
because she also has, because in her family she has many cousins of the same age. So she's the second eldest
Mhm.
among all the cousins. So she also have many people to play with,
All
and
right.
yeah, of course she likes to study lah. Different from me, it's like my mother-in-law always read to her and buy her books, and she likes to study. But for me, I like to play kind. But both of us are quite aligned in the sense that we want our children to be happy, to have a happy childhood.
Okay. How did you come to that alignment?
Mm, I think after you work in the society, and after you have in a family, you have your own kids, right?
Mm.
I think you realize that happiness is what we are chasing after.
Mm.
But happiness can be very simple. When you are with your babies, you know that, oh wow, you just feel happy. So we of course we do our best not to let things interfere. Not to be distracted, not to distract us from that. So we just always keep in mind that, hey, we need to be happy. So at times we need the discipline, we need discipline. Times we need to counsel, we counsel. But at the end of the day, we want to make sure that everybody is happy.
So can you, and again, I don't mean to be so intimate, and I know I've detracted from the idea of, how you got into financial advisory, but you see, it's fascinating to me that in terms of character development, I think I love the Ministry of Education trying to put character development, but that's not character development, that's national education. So let's be very honest there, okay? So I feel that in your kind of character development, there must have been some form of communication. Like how did you even connect with June in such a way, that as you talk, you have agreement? Was that your criteria for even finding your future life partner in the first place? And if you guys ever get into conflict, what do you all do? What's the secret sauce there?
Actually, okay, I think POE changed us a little bit. We are both POE graduates, so NLP did help us a lot to communicate better. But I think, okay, because we get together when we were quite young.
Uh,
Yeah. So she was still an undergrad, so we got together. Then so we didn't think too much about. We didn't think too much. We are both very confident. We just feel that things will work out. So
oh,
we are just so confident that things will work out, no worries. And her dream, her one of her goals is to be at home looking after kids. That was one of her goals also. So
okay.
but of course, thinking and when things really happen is a little bit different, Yeah,
Okay,
when we
so
have
what
our
was the difference?
kids, she's more concerned about the food, the ingredient of the food, and how to take care of baby, what you can't talk to the baby, what you cannot expose the baby to. Things
Oh,
start to change, deviate a lot from the original idea.
right.
Yeah. So we had a little bit of uh, unhappiness. Not, but the core idea is still the same. But it's just that a lot of nitty gritty things came into play, and so sometimes we quarrel about that. By the end of the day, we still, after a while, we still tell ourselves, hey, don't overdo it, because when we overdo it, right? I mean, like, you can try to find the best ingredient or best food for your kid or best snack for your kid, like organic and pure. But I think when you overdo it, you get into this very tense up mood, and then
Right.
it affects the whole relationship. Yeah.
Okay.
So it takes time. It takes time. It takes time to communicate and to adjust ourselves.
You, both you and June actually were in financial advisory at one point of time, right? Together.
Oh yeah, she joined my team. She joined my team until the first baby came. Then she
Oh,
find that very difficult to, very difficult until she left when the second baby came.
right.
Yeah, she find it very difficult to even continue servicing the client,
Mhm.
and so she left the industry to focus on the babies.
Oh, wow. So this means that you prioritize family above everything else, lah.
Yes, yes, and because once we have baby, I mean, like, we must think about them, right?
Yeah, yeah.
It's not just about putting food on the table. I mean, like, I came from a family whereby my parents are concerned about putting food on the table, and then you go and do your own things the whole day. Whether are you learning anything or who are you mixing with? They have no time for you, because I have four other siblings. I'm the youngest. I'm number five also in my family. So
Wow.
they have no time for me also.
This is
Yeah.
called 5 times 5. You see, each generation, maybe you have 5 times 5, you have 25 grandchildren or more.
Okay. I don't dare think so far.
No, but it's great to sense this kind of energy from you and to notice a few things. I mean, number one, it's very clear that family occupies a very big spot in your heart.
Mm.
How I'm curious about how this translates into just relationships in general. when you started FA, you said that you couldn't get into you couldn't get your 4 O levels minimum to get into the insurance industry, right? So eventually you did it, but
Mm.
um, why was it that because it didn't sound like you initiated it. It sounded like your elder sister initiated it, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Why did you listen to her in the first place? Because I don't know. Sometimes siblings they don't even agree with each other, and they have the greatest conflicts. I've met a lot of parents, try to counsel them. This is one of the biggest stresses in their life, right? How come you would listen to your older sister?
Because my sisters, the eldest is like 10 years apart from me. So my third sister is like 6 years apart. So 6 years apart also. So I'm the youngest. So being the youngest, they always love me, shower me with love, buy me things. So I mean, my relationship with them are very good.
All right.
And when she decided to take O level for herself, she just asked me to tag along. So the both of us, we have the highest qualification in the whole family.
Wow.
Then I just say, okay, then why not lah? Just go lah. For me, I never ever thought it as I want to do better. I want to do better in life. I want to get better qualifications and certification.
Hmm.
I just thought that, okay, since she chill, then I think we can study together. I thought it would be fun,
Oh, okay. Okay, that reveals quite a fair bit about you. So you are quite fun driven and people driven, right?
Yeah.
So once you got into financial advisory, what was the pathway you took? I mean, was it easy for you initially in the first couple of years?
Oh, I'm quite blessed in the sense that my business was good. But it was really difficult because why? At age 21, I was contracted one day after I'm 21 years old. So I was really literally the youngest financial consultant because one day after 21, right?
Hmm.
And all my friends are still studying. So I have no natural market, and I don't really want to go and approach all my relatives because we didn't, because as the youngest, right, I don't really keep contact with them. Usually my sisters do it. So I don't want to call my relative and say, hey, hello, uncle, I want to talk to you about policy. I don't want to get that. I just feel, yeah, not me. So then the lucky part was I followed this mentor, this manager. His name is David. He gave me a platform which is roadshow. So he started this roadshow thing, and through roadshow I just can approach everybody, So life was touched because I'm not very fluent with my English. Or back then I think my English was worse than this. Like I really you can think that I've been trying to explain the insurance policy to you. It was really like that.
Okay.
So but my boss gave me a very clear target. He said, hey James, okay, you need to approach 300. I said, what you say again? I need to approach 300 people. So I say, hello. I said, what is considered as approach? Touch shoulder consider approach or not? Or say, wave consider approach or not? He said, no, you must complete these few questions. Like, there are like 5 questions. Like, yeah, so you must talk to the person. I said, what if the person don't talk to me? He said, okay, as long as you recite that 5 questions, right, you consider approach 1. So whether or not the person reply or not, he don't care lah. So, I get really stressed because my first day, I still remember my first day was at Bishan, and it was 4 p.m. and he came down. He said he's coming and he came, I only approached 100 people. So I was like, wow, very stressed, because you asked me how's my day, I got nobody sitting down with me. And so then I tell myself, okay lah, just take it seriously. He said 300, at least I do it for him lah, At least I do it for him, and I complete the 300 lah. And true enough, he said, James, the ratio is if you do 300, you will have 1 case. So the true enough, after rejected by 299 people, the 300 person buy something.
Wow.
So that feels like, hey, wow. So every day I just need to approach 300. As day goes by, I become more proficient. I can approach up to 600 people a day.
That's okay. So what made you feel that approaching 300 was going to work anyway?
Oh no, I was thinking it. Actually, I wasn't thinking whether it will work or not. I was thinking that more of a fulfillment. It's not more like a boss asks you to do something, you better get it done. So to me, it's like, okay, I don't want to act smart. I just want to do it so that if I don't have any, if let's say I don't get any clients, but at least I do my part.
Right.
And I feel that if I do my part, my boss won't scold me. My boss won't, because my boss is really fierce, next to my dad is my boss already. He was really fierce. So then I was like, oh, very scared of him. So I was just thinking of fulfilling my job, just to do it, so that to make him to tell him that 有一个交代啦，而且做人就是有一个交代啦。So at least I tell him that I done my best lah, even though I don't close any case.
Wow. Okay. So I have an interesting insight there. That means that it does it that okay. So let me rephrase that question.
Okay.
Are you targets and result oriented?
Target and result oriented. Yes, I'm result oriented. As in focus on, if I have a target, I will go for it. Right? You're saying that.
Yeah.
I'm
It's interesting because right now it doesn't sound like the results. At least initially, it didn't sound like the results were the main thing that drove you. It sounded more like the journey was more important than the destination in that sense. Would you agree?
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah.
Even up to now, because I know we had a conversation previously regarding even setting this whole thing up. You strike me as somebody who not only values relationships, but you are very good at knowing what goes into that relationship. Like, for example, you actually asked the question, what is classified as completion of talking to those 300 people? That tells me something interesting about the way your mind works, which is you will have very clear success criteria, right? That, okay,
Yep.
if I need to do X, I will do X, but I'll make sure that X comprises of these following steps. Yeah. So in terms of financial advisory, what do you think are the biggest mistakes that new financial advisors make?
They don't. I think they don't take their targets seriously. Meaning targets, right? Because being new, right? You need to practice. You need to keep going. So when, let's say, your manager or your mentor asks you, hey, you need to fix 5 appointments a week, example, just to get, just to practice, find somebody. So they don't even complete that first task of getting 5 people. So after trying to get 2, and then they'll say that, nobody wants to meet me. And they are, I mean, like, it's very natural. They will fall into this mode whereby they start to say that things are not working, and people are not free to meet me. People say, oh, they'll say that the most common one, and something that you cannot fault them is, oh, they are not free this month. So they will say that most of their clients or friends are only free next month. Then they got nothing else to do. Really, really. So you can't fault them, but I mean, like, yeah, that's the real case.
Okay, so how about you? How do you push yourself to arrive at those kinds of targets? Don't you have those same thoughts as well? It's like,
okay,
they're busy lah, that kind of thing.
Okay, once I feel that this is the KPI or this is the standard to fulfill. So now I have, because when I first day I do not know what to do. So then my boss give me a KPI. So from there, then I improvise it and make my own KPI. So of course, I think one of the biggest mistake is people want to today I want to close 2 cases. They set the target. Oh no, it's a good target, don't get me wrong. But my target was more like, if today I can speak to 500 people, and I want to sit down and really connect with 10 people. And I know that by connecting with 10 people, I have got a high chance that I can close 2 cases. So I'm more focused on that rather than trying to close 2 cases, because closing case is very subjective. Sometimes it's depending on luck. Sometimes depending on the prospect. There's so many factors, right? But I focus what is controllable. My boss always say, control the controllables, right. Which is how many people you approach, and how many people you get to sit them down and explain to them about policies and stuff.
Yeah.
So I tend to focus on that.
Okay, because you're talking about very different numbers than the average person. Like for myself as a consultant, I don't go for 500 people. I don't go for 300 people even. To me, it's like one shot, one kill. I just approach, go in there. And I suppose in my kind of case, it's become a little bit less of a so-called mass market, because you are involved the B2C. I'm into the B2B, so it's a little bit different. But it tells me something about your idea of luck. uh, I still remember this phrase. Luck is dependent on, or shall I say, the harder you work, the luckier you get. So, so
Yeah,
you've
yeah.
been casting the net very wide. So
Yep,
I'm
yep.
I'm fascinated by this. Okay. So what stops you? What are some of the things that on maybe, I don't know, bad days or whatever it is, that actually stop you from doing things, and how do you get out of those?
Um, okay, because I think I overwork. Every month I work about 25 days, and 25 days is like 9 a.m. to 10 p.m. So those are some of the days that I really don't feel like working, but I'm still there. Then
Mm,
I'm in a bad mood, right? So what happens? I will go to the arcade. I
mm.
just take 1 hour off to go to the arcade, and then I play some games, just release myself, because yeah, I enjoy myself for a while. I tell myself, oh, I really needed to enjoy to make myself happy again. So going to arcade is the best place. And after playing for 1 hour, I'm quite good, using $1 I can play for an hour. Yeah, so
Very
so
high ROI.
very high ROI. Then from there, so after that I'm happy, right? Then I can get myself going again. Yeah.
See, that's interesting. Some people may say that that's a distraction. What would you say to that?
Okay, I came out with my own words. Burn time to save time.
Explain.
Meaning, if I have to burn away some time, yeah, meaning I have to sacrifice some time so that I can save the remaining of the time. So, example, if let's say I at 12 p.m. I'm already so down, right? So if I try to approach people or stand there, nothing is going to happen. I still remember one day my boss scolded me early in the morning, 8:30 a.m. He came to roadshow, he scolded me for the whole day. My been cao cao one, but I still tell myself 350 people. I approached 350 people, but nobody stopped to even talk to me. So it's like your inner world really, tells the whole, how to say, repel people from wanting to talk to you. And
Mm,
uh, and so then I start to realize that, hey, if you don't feel good, you can't get results. And so how to feel good? Take a break. And when I say take a break, some consultant, what they do is they gather 3 or 4 people, went to drink coffee,
mm.
take a break. But that cause even more distraction. That cause even more, how to say, like they because they are talking about fun stuff like, oh, what I want to do after work, what I want to do this. Then they are pretty much stuck in the work still, right? So they will still find that, hey, yeah, after the conversation or after the break, they are not usually energized. So
Right.
then I refrain from going for coffee. I just go and do my own things.
Right.
1 hour, I just disappear for an hour. After that, I'm happy. I come back and I work.
Okay. What are those activities that make you, James Yeow, happy?
Okay.
Okay, you
I
don't
mean,
have
like unusual
some.
days. Are you saying that?
Yeah, yeah, unusual days.
Unusual days. I mean, like if I can play soccer, I will be very happy. Otherwise, I can play my PS4 or my PlayStation. I'll be really happy.
Okay.
That's why I wake up at 7 o'clock every day just to play PS3. The
Wow.
time just to play PlayStation, because I thought that the first thing, so I developed this habit. The first thing I wake up to do was the first thing I do is to make myself happy. So I'll wake up at 6:30 or 7 o'clock to play PlayStation. Then after that, I will bathe, get ready, and get out. So it's kind of a weird routine, but I tell myself the first thing to do is to make myself happy. So I will play PlayStation.
Okay. What would you say to people who they wake up grumpy one? What's your advice to them?
I think really build a routine of doing something that makes them happy. Because after a while, they are so bothered by work, so bothered by things around them, by people. They stop doing what they like to do. It may
Mm.
be reading a book, it may be doing some art or listening to some music. But
Mm.
so the first thing to do, I think, very importantly, is to make yourself happy.
I think the funny thing is, and I coach a lot of people as well. I think one of
Mm.
the funny things is, I think people are addicted to being depressed and upset. It's like, when they get very riled up and angry, and sometimes I catch myself like that as well. When
Mm.
riled up and angry, it feels like, oh, this thing matters a lot, and therefore I must keep pushing myself. So that's
Mm.
why in POE, and I've left the organization for some years already.
Mm.
One of the things I both love and hate at the same time is the phrase "do whatever it takes." because a lot of people who do it correctly, like yourself, huh? You do it correctly.
Okay.
You do whatever it takes. I'll enjoy life. I'll shift my routine to make myself happy. I'm in a different state. Then I go out and I can accomplish great things, great deal of things. But a lot of people, they do whatever it takes, and to them is, oh, it's just like that. It's just a very narrow focus. So by the time they're doing it, they're missing out on all the other things that are around them. So they actually are not doing whatever it takes, but they think they're doing whatever it takes by going ahead.
Yep. Yep.
So going ahead, yeah. So that's why it ties back to what you said earlier on. You said uh, complete, but based on a set of criteria, or at least that's how I've been reading it. The journey rather than the destination, because then it is true that you can explore what needs to be done rather than just pick, okay, here's one thing and I'll just go ahead and do it. Because like you mentioned, approaching 350 and not having a single one respond, it's got to be a reflection of your own inner world, right?
Yep. Yep. It is.
That's very powerful. Let's talk a little bit about your um, the different type of sales strategies. I've heard, and again, this is just for my own morbid curiosity because I consider myself not a very good salesperson. Huh?
Okay.
So if someone comes up to you and says, okay, here's a system of selling, here's a process of selling. If you follow this, you're sure to reach a certain result. What do you think of such a thing? Do you think that
Okay.
works? Do you think there's such a thing where a so-called system will actually work?
Yeah, I believe everybody form a certain way of selling, and I always believe there's 1,001 way to sell something. It's just which one you are more comfortable with and which one you prefer. And of course, if someone tells me there's a system, I would want to see. The first thing I'll ask is, so what's your result? Have you done anything? Because I mean a validation, right?
Right.
Yeah, yeah. So if I see that, of course, we also see the content. If the content is valid, right? Yeah, we do. I mean, like from how I started is always to just copy. Yeah, I copy whatever my boss tell me, and at the very if I can copy 100%, I'll be as good as him. So it's about and they also share with us like these are the ways how we present the customer, and this is the way how you engage the customer. Yeah,
Okay.
so everybody has a system.
So let's put it this way. Because you're a little bit more high energy, a bit more extroverted, and so on. Would you say that is a factor for your success, and that introverts will not be able to use your approach?
Oh no, I think system is system. It's just that you use it to your own advantage. You use it your own style. So because there are people who prefer to talk to an introvert, who are not so loud, who don't talk so much, who listens more.
Mm.
Yeah, there are some people who likes to who are also extroverts who likes to talk to me because the conversation keeps going.
Mm.
Yeah. So I believe that whether you should have someone who wants to talk to you and who is more suitable to talk to you, whether
Okay.
you're introvert or extrovert, and the
All right.
system is how you use it to your own advantage.
Okay. That is quite revealing because what you're talking about is not just follow the system blindly, but rather to use what is natural to you also.
Yes.
That is not shall I say not sales professional centric, but more um, the person who wants to talk to you,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
So if the other person is also extroverted, then it's a better match. But has there ever been a time where your style doesn't really match? Like you're talking to someone who somehow don't click on. What do you do?
In we learn how to model after people, right? That sometimes sometimes I mean like I know that one look somehow I feel that this person is introvert, so I'll just speak in a softer volume and
Okay,
speak slower to match the person.
right.
However, I feel that even though some of them buy, after a while they just because it's the difference in character. So there are certain things that they still won't share with you.
Mm,
So I feel that it comes to servicing, it comes to closing sales, you can still close them. But when it comes to servicing, perhaps over long term you'll see unless you build the relationship to the next level. Otherwise, you'll find that it's very difficult to service a client also.
okay.
Yeah.
Having said that, what is your idea of uh, the prospect? Like when you are approaching somebody and you're attempting to get this person to buy, what's your theory? What's your idea about this person when you actually approach them? I don't know whether that's good question or a bad question because it's quite
Mhm.
vague. But did you get what I'm saying?
Yep, understand. I don't really, like I say, when I approach somebody, I focus more on how to connect with them first and want to talk to them. And because I'm very my presentation, I just say, give me a minute. And in that 1 minute, if whatever I say is not interesting and the person want to go, I'll just let the person go. I won't try to like say that, hey, hey, there's another thing, there's item B, there's item C, there's this. Why you don't want to buy, why you don't consider? I won't go into that mode because I take pride in my presentation skills. So I feel that if that 1 minute I can't impress you or make you curious about whatever I'm presenting, then okay, I feel.
Oh,
Okay,
what
yeah.
goes into that 1 minute?
What goes in the 1 minute is like, for example, if I'm talking about savings plan, let's say I was talking about savings plan, right? So I will do a very quick comparison, like, you save your money in the bank and save your money with us, what's the benefit? And end of the day, like, when you retire, so how much you will have in the bank, even though you can save your money, and how much you will have with us, and things like that. So it's a very clear comparison. But like I said, sometimes the client don't have money, they just don't have money.
Right.
So they'll give you all sorts of reasons. Sometimes the clients are just not interested. There are some more investment savvy, they are not interested. Yeah,
Okay.
so I'll just let them go.
Wow. So you really go into a very cold market space to test
Very.
like the 300, 500 type of approach.
Oh yeah, very, very cool. So
Wow.
that was like the first 10 years of my career.
What's your belief about rejection?
Okay, I think it is about understanding. People people don't people don't really want to reject you unless they have some reasons. Rejection and reasons are two different things. So what are they rejecting? They're rejecting the product because the product is not good, or they are rejecting because they have certain reasons that they cannot buy or they don't have the money to buy, but they have to give you some objections just to reject you. You see,
Right.
yeah, yeah. More than often, when we do roadshow, when we have some, mass market, right? Some they are only like saving $200 a month in the bank. Already. So if you are asking them to save $200 with you in the insurance program, they
Mm,
really got to think, and they really can't make the decision there and then.
right.
So after a while, we also start to understand. People will not tell you the real reason, but you got to like sense it yourself. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So I don't take rejection that personally lah. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Uh, when okay, so my mind is going into two tracks, so I'll just take a mental note of that. But I'll come back to this because there's firstly
Mm.
the question about, yes, you already done the prospecting and then you've worked with them, but what is the real essence of that relationship? I want to touch on that one first, and then I'll go into the next one a little bit later, which has got to do with this whole belief structure surrounding rejection. So let's start off with the first track.
Okay.
How do you what was the end result of this building of this prospect, the nature of your relationship with your clients?
Uh, I, I, I think it would be a professional relationship. First of all, I'm very clear. When I come and talk to you, if it's business call, it's business call.
Mm-hmm.
So I will, yeah. So when I do my business, when I do my business with you, I talk about why I showcase my expertise, and then until we come to the end of the conversation, then we move on to, like, let's say if you are my friends or you are my business network friends, then we go and catch up on other things. I will I will not mix professional relationship and friendship,
Mm,
because it can get very messy.
right.
Mm.
Then how do you explain the idea of a network and utilizing the network for the purposes of selling?
Network is for you to know more people, and the when the time is ripe, you have contributed enough. That's where you can start to ask people for an opportunity. Of course, I mean, like, if you join a network for the sake of selling, you still can. Just that the road is tougher,
Mm,
because if you are talking about community, a network, people will start to see who are you, because people don't know who are you, right?
mm,
So people see how you behave, people see how you talk, and people make a decision whether they want to talk to you further.
mm,
Yeah. So network is for you to know people. and for you to build your credibility
Mm.
and or reputation for that matter, and
Okay.
then from there to draw people to want to talk to you.
All right. Okay. So I agree with that, in principle. All right.
Mm.
But in the case of uh, building the pipeline, there's always a pivot from, okay,
Mm.
you're my friend, and
Mm.
then would you like to do business with me? How do
Mm.
you know that you've contributed enough to this person to actually open up that conversation in the first place?
So to me, I will like have coffee. If let's say I have coffee with you first time, then I want to understand how your business work and how good is your business, or if there's anything I can do for your business. I always believe in giving, you know. So I give them time to explain their business to me first, and naturally, if I give them like 1.5 hours listening out to them, they will ask me back. So what do you do? And they will give me some airtime. Yeah. So I think it happens quite naturally.
Mm.
Yeah. I don't say that it's a technique, but it's more like I feel that when you listen to people enough, people want to listen to you also.
Right. Well,
Mm.
so how do you keep track? Or I mean, you must have serviced thousands of clients in your history.
Yeah.
So how do you keep track of all of them and work through the relationship so that it actually deepens?
Okay, because, the first part of my career when I do roadshow, right, I have this title called 师奶杀手. So most of my clients are aunties. And as I progress in life, right, they also progress in life, but they start to have grandchildren and things like that. But I tend to, yeah, it tends to stop there because, they seldom prefer another the auntie network to me. So my first batch of clients, right, pretty much I don't, yeah, when because they go on short-term policies and stuff like that. So when policy mature and they're also retired, I don't really service them anymore.
Mm,
Yeah, so it's more of the newer customer who are younger.
mm,
Yeah, then that's where we do like reviews. So we focus on growing their wealth because I focus a lot on the net worth, whereby not many consultants do. Your net worth is actually your balance sheet, You do your balance sheet, you do have your cash flow statement. Uh, so that is the one that if my clients are really serious about building their net worth, then we have a long way to go because how you allocate your assets and what you should do, what are the strategies.
mm.
Yeah, then there's more. It's going to be a long journey together.
Right. Okay, that's interesting because it brings me back to the journey of your building your credentials and so on.
Mm.
You started with four O levels, and if I'm not mistaken, now you're a chartered financial consultant, right?
Yep, yep, yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
How did you manage to do that?
In 2008, 2008, financial crisis. So what happened was Lehman Brothers. So financial crisis. Nobody will talk to you at roadshow. I mean, like even the existing customer don't even want to talk about insurance because it's another financial disaster, right? It's a really global financial recession. So I remember one thing that my father told me. My father told me that, he said that, do you know why the Singapore always dig up their roads and pave the roads, new roads again, especially during recession? He said it's to create jobs. During bad times, you create jobs, and you're supposed to lay low and do all this repair work. So when the economy is good again, right, the roads are new. so you, so I take the analogy. I tell myself, okay, so financial crisis means that break time, right? Break time, right? Yeah, we're going to take a break from work, from prospecting. What should I do? And by then I have 2 children, so I have to stay at home and look after kids also, help out. So I decided, okay lah. So since I need to stay at home more often, and now I have to take a break from prospecting, right? Then I go study something. So
Mm,
then back then, chartered financial consultant was still pretty new, because there are not many chartered financial consultant around. So then I decided to pursue and the self-study route. There's no class, there's no lecture, no nothing.
oh,
There's no mock papers, no nothing. So being a 4 level, start to study. And I still remember when I took module 4. Module 4 is on investment. I showed it to my colleague because my colleague got his master's in applied economics. He said, wow, this one looks like the one I studied in my U. I said because really, I the 300 pages, right, I can barely understand 200 pages. I cannot really understand what the 200 pages are all about, you know.
Oh
So
man.
all the technical jargons, what. Then I was like so puzzled. Then I asked him for help. He said, you only have to mark, no? You just got to study. I say I can explain to you. So he's very helpful. He explained some concepts for me, to me. But again, so I took 5 years to complete the papers.
Wow.
5 years. It took me 5 years to self-study and to clear the CHFC. Yeah. And I only given 5 years. If 5 years I don't clear, I have to restart again.
Wow.
Yeah. So
Oh,
it took me 5 years to study.
uh, yeah, but what? How do you feel about that so-called result?
I think it's not the result. Again, I think throughout the journey when I was studying for the papers, right, I start to feel very different because I feel that, oh, so this is wealth management. Oh, this is financial planning. So it's like it's a reflection, right? Like, because by the time I started it was like I 5 years in the business already. So I'm like, so this the financial planning and the wealth the financial planning and wealth management in the textbook is very different from whatever I'm doing in real life.
Mm.
So I said, oh, it's a very, very high level. So that motivates me to, because I said that I really want to be someone who is very professional, can able to do this for my clients.
Mm.
And yeah, so that spurred me a bit to pursue the papers. But I didn't know it take 5 years long.
Well, based on what I know from your contributions, if you had even if you had known it will take 5 years or 6 years, probably not now because 6 years is too late already, right? But if you will just go for the target, right? Because that sounds like who you are.
Yeah,
Yeah, go ahead.
no, I feel that because I'm doing something very different from what my father has been telling me that oh, it's not important to study. You know, you remember my father would say that I don't need to study. Study so much for what? Yeah, you even get a PhD is like permanent head damage. So no, don't study lah.
So tell
But
me, so what's the value of studying to you now?
really to improve myself. I mean like 华文有一句话嘛，书中自有黄金屋，书中自有颜如玉。I think there are all there are so many things that people write about right and the path they have walked. And there's so many things to pick up from the books. So to me, studying right now is really to really improve myself as a person, to develop myself. And if you're talking about for my career wise, yeah, it will help me to better serve my. Okay, now my number 5 is right. My number 4 opened the door. That's why she came in. Give me a second. Sorry.
Good.
Okay, don't cry. Yeah, smiling. Say hello.
Hello.
Again. Hello. Hello. Okay, who's that? Justice, can you close the door?
Yeah, so this is very consistent with his character. It's, don't take things personally. Enjoy the process.
Okay, so my number 3 brought the number 5 to come and visit me.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think that okay. So now I go into another rabbit hole because you're talking about improvement. You're talking about study. I understand in our previous conversation that you are aiming for a master's degree now.
Oh yeah, actually that was one of my crazy goal, you know, like how do I really wanted to go back to schools, but over the years I have more and more children, so I start to push that aside and tell myself I can't go back to study and things like that. Yeah, I actually this year I took up the courage to even inquire about the course because being only a 4 level grad, right? So I was thinking that wealth management, so can I come in as an industry candidate? So so after went through it's SMU Masters in Wealth Management.
Wow.
So I met the prof and the program master. So we went through the whole interview. So what she said that she will support my application all the way up, and yeah, she said that it's not a final acceptance yet.
Right.
But but personally, she would like me to be able to go for the course.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
And
what was the result? You
I supposed to okay, because the fee, it was quite a hefty sum of money. Like
okay.
they said the course fee is 60,000. You can with some subsidy or whatever you can claim back, but that's only when you can claim back. Then I look at the study blocks, right? I need to take like 4 to 5 months off work.
Wow. Okay.
So if I look at I came back and have a conversation with June. We calculated, okay, can to go for this course, I think as long as you can set aside 100,000, you can go lah. So we're like, okay, 100,000. Yeah, I think I need to build these 100,000 from somewhere. You see. So
Yeah.
therefore I and just so nice, right? Because of this pandemic, the class is also delayed. It's
Right.
postponed to next year. So I gave myself the aim. Next year I want to go and really be able to go and study.
That's awesome. So, in principle, approved lah.
In principle, approved. So
Oh,
just where to find the resources to really go for it.
well, guys, for those of you who are on, thank you for joining. We've got James Yeow here from 3 O levels and then to 4 O levels and then to a master's degree. Just think about that. I mean, from an academic viewpoint, it's almost like an impossibility for most people, right? Let me cycle back to the question on wealth management because it does seem that your network has become quite strong, right?
Yep.
But tell me a little bit about the challenges that people face in terms of their wealth management. I mean, why in the first place do people need such a service?
Like I say, I focus more on financial statement, which is the 4 items: asset, liabilities, income, and income and expenditure. So what people are always focusing on, right, is how much money I earn, how
Mm,
much income can I bring home,
yep.
and how much money I spend, and where do I spend on. And the most frequent asset they look at is only the bank account. So
Mm,
they kind of neglect the rest of the thing, like to build your net worth. Are you constantly taking one step closer to millionaire? Not just looking at your bank account. There are so many other things that you need to look at. Yeah, so I think people are very busy focusing on income and to boost their income, which is good. But at the same time, they should spend some time to boost their assets and boost their net. Otherwise, you'll be like, oh, I earn a lot. I earn $10,000, and I save this month. I save 5,000, but next month I have to spend another 3,000 out.
right.
Yeah, then you like pretty much back in the same cycle.
Okay. Well, what are typical issues for? Because I'm pretty sure some of these business owners do their own, purchase different types of assets and stuff like that. So what would be a typical series of challenges that they face when actually doing it themselves, compared with, let's say, getting a wealth manager, someone who's a financial consultant?
First of all, they are very trusting people, lah. As in when they decided to engage a person service, they'll just believe in the person.
Oh,
So yeah, I mean, like which is quite common. Like they consider a while, they consider for a while, but when they decided to use you, they will use you. They will just take a service. But most of the business owners, they are very busy,
right.
and to them is what is constantly on their mind is how to grow their business. And so it's very different how to grow their business and not how do I grow my wealth, because to them some might be thinking, oh, I grow my business to a certain extent, maybe I can exit, I can
Mm,
sell away, I can sell things, and that equates to my wealth. But a safer part is how do you build your wealth. Why not build both together, build your wealth and build your business up together, so even if something wrong with your business, there's still wealth to fall back on. Yeah.
okay.
So I think that is a part that is very neglected by business owners.
I see. What do you think of the uh, mindset? Because you're in 16 years, the mindset of wealth creation. How has it changed over the last 10 years or so? Are people more open to it, or are they still, oh, I don't know what this is all about, not really interested?
Okay, actually yes, people are more open to it, but so I mean the trend nowadays is people buy term and invest the rest,
Mm,
and so they'll focus more on investment and where to grow their money rather than just buy a traditional insurance, and they want to spend as little as possible on insurance and then allocate the rest into other assets. Investment, can be unit trust, can be stocks, can be everything else.
Right.
Yeah, yeah. People are more into this nowadays as compared to when I first started this career.
Okay. When we look at uh, one of the things that I also wanted to touch on was with regards to crisis and challenge. So one of the ways you seem to have reframed it is, let's say, a financial crisis or maybe even this pandemic is sort of like a break time for you, almost like
Yeah.
you're going to the arcade for a very long time.
Yes. Yes.
But were there major challenges for you that really caused you a setback? And if you did, how did you kind of like get out of that?
Actually, I think the most difficult period, right, was when I decided to leave Prudential after 13 years,
Oh,
and I decided to quit and go and start all over again in the FA firm, because I believe that in the FA firm I can do my client justice by finding the best solution and the best plan at this point of time. But what I underestimated was I was on full SBO when trying to cross the hurdles, because I have 4 children. So
right.
having 4 sons and starting all over again, I kind of overestimated myself.
Wow.
Like I can run as fast. I thought that because I'm running right, but I forgot that I have 4 kids to run with me, so that slows me down. And yeah, and I got really quite a fair bit of challenges, because what I was what I'm good at was with potential products for 13 years. Even though we always say that all insurance products are the same, almost the same. But when I go over to FA firm, there's 17 other insurers that I need to know.
Yeah.
I'm like, and then they are not exactly the same, you know. So the premiums are not the same, the features are not the same, even though they are the same type, but they can be very different. So it was like a vertical learning, there's no learning curve, it's vertical. So
So
it
how
was very,
did you go about digesting all that? It must have been quite because if you're used to just doing a small set compared with all these new products, right? How
yep.
how did you overcome that hurdle? What was going on there?
Okay, my very first thing I do is not to attend training, because the training, there are too many, 17 companies. How long will I get myself? So the very first thing I identify is there's this guy called BDM, Business Development Manager of the insurers. So they are also my account manager. So meaning if anything I have to ask them, like be it underwriting or be it any questions. So I tell myself I have to build good relationship with this group of people.
Okay.
So much so that if any question that I need quick answers, right, I can always ask them rather than send them an email and wait for answers. So that helped me a lot, and I also organize small group trainings. So they will come down to my team meetings and train us, especially. So we have a more one-to-one time and able to ask more questions. And that's how I really picked up. But of course, I have a very strong foundation, so I picked it up quite fast. And I have to really spend time reading through all the product summaries.
Right.
Yeah, so that's the learning part.
Okay,
Yeah.
so that's where your English improved, lah.
No, my English improved because of my wife.
Ah,
Because I have this idol called Richard Gere.
oh,
I feel that wow, he speaks very charismatically and like very really like a gentleman. I really would like to speak like him. But I can't speak English. That's a problem. So so I tell June, I tell my wife, who was my ex-girlfriend. So I said that, hey, correct my English. Then she said that, can and I can tell you she can really correct me, She has. I ate. She has given. It's like, oh, every single sentence she'll correct me, so irritating that we often get into quarrel. But I know that it's for my own good. Really, really, it's like, okay, because I also understand that there's no need to have a degree holder to speak good English.
mm,
So language can be practiced. So
yeah,
I asked her to just teach me. So after a while, my English improved very fast, very fast, very tremendously. So most of people will think that I'm a graduate. They won't think that I'm an O-level grad. So when I talk to my prospect, they also thought that, you're O-level only. I say that, yeah, actually O-level only.
Okay, so let's dive into this concept of relationship management. Huh?
Mm.
In fact, three different contexts right now, I'm seeing very strong relationship uh, building. Number one is obviously your family. Number two is with your prospects and clients. And number three is with the BDMs that you mentioned in your FA, right?
Yep.
Tell me what you feel are the principles of relationship building.
Principle, I don't dare to say any principle, but
Guiding rules, your guiding rules.
You really know people well. To really spend some time knowing each other well. So that would mean that a coffee, or if more intimate, would be a tea, a beer, because if I don't know you well, I don't have lunch with you, I don't drink coffee with you, I will just it's just as well as I'm knowing your name, or I know your life from Facebook, but I don't really know you that well. So it's about spending time with them. And I mean, like buying coffee or these are small things, but spending time and really talk to them, and not just for work, but also try to know them as a person, a little bit, if they are willing to share about their personal life, or how many children they have, and what are the things that they do, because children are the common topics right nowadays for me and most of the people. Then so that helps me to know them a little better. And I believe it's about spending time knowing each other, and that will be a very meaningful connection.
How do you track all of the information? I mean, with all of these people that must be like swarming inside your head, what do you do to manage all of that?
Okay, we are all taught to write down. They got this Dr. Tan concept. Right? Dr. Tan don't know you when you call. This Dr. Tan, right? But he will don't know you, because you are a patient for 10 years already. But when it comes to his clinic, he knows you because he look at all your record. So we are taught to record the document down. Unfortunately, I'm too swamped by things. I'm not able to. So I do my very best to just remember. But I think that what is important is not just about remembering what's your dog's name or what's your children's name, but the more importantly is to have that conversation first. So once we have that conversation, I mean, I'll be paiseh when I say, sorry, so what's your son's name again? Maybe for the third time or fourth time, but they're okay, see, because I think most of people also won't think that, they won't expect you to remember or recite, or even know what's their son's birthday. It's very freaky that way.
Yeah, it's like you're stalking them.
Yeah, I'm more focused on the conversation, to have that conversation with them, to know them better. Yeah, I think that's more important than keeping track of the information, I guess.
Because I know a lot of people who underestimate the power of their relationship network. Especially those who are slightly younger, they don't see that it's going to flourish. One of the things that you mentioned is, like when you're serving the so-called aunties, right? You said that they eventually grew with you, and then they recommended either their grandchildren or whatever. That sounds to me like you have a very long-term view. Would you agree that it's like, okay, this is a person who eventually grow up, right? So I must look at their lifetime value, and so on. So if that is the case, then what would you say to somebody who is just going for, I mean, they don't really look so much in the relationship. They just want to go for the target. Do you think that's a dangerous thing to do?
Okay, I guess I sidetrack a little bit. I share a very interesting fact about myself.
Okay.
When I was running the provision shop, right, business with my sister, you know what's the one thing that people would come and buy cigarette from me? All the smokers, they'll come to my shop and buy from me. You know why?
Why?
Because by the third time they come, the change and the cigarette is on the table already. I know exactly how much they'll bring. I know exactly big pack or small pack. I know exactly what they want. And I'm not talking about just one, the whole neighborhood. So all the people came, they were like, and from far they already know. And they know that they're going to give me $10. I'm going to give them $7 of change. And it's there. And they don't even need to talk. They put the money, they take, and they go. Sometimes when they stick around to talk a bit, then we know that they're free to chat. But yeah, so to me, it's how much you pay attention to people. And in every business, it's the same. Every business is relationship business. And if you make it too transactional, right? First of all, you bore yourself to death. Secondly, you ask yourself, after making all the money and making all the money from the person, so what's left? Actually, there's nothing left. And you realize that, and in insurance, you always say this, but in our business, you always say this. I heard some guru saying this, I forgot where. They say, if you enjoy what you're doing, you never have to work a day, another day for another day. So in our industry, it's about talking to people and making that relationship, and people inviting you to their daughter's wedding and their son's wedding, and and that's a very nice feeling. And then they don't see you as their insurance agent. I don't see them as my customer. It becomes friends. So if if they don't look at relationship, I can tell you, they're just missing everything in life. I think they probably miss everything in life, even their own relationship in their family. Because end of the day, the big condo that they buy, or the Rolls Royce or Ferrari that they buy, right, means nothing.
Yeah, this is a very revealing thing, because you're the idea of what exactly is left after you skim all the money from whichever market that you're serving, right? Whether you're a business owner or whatever. This is, I think it's something that people may know at the back of their mind, but maybe they don't recognize. And I think I trace this back to the roots of your character, where you were trained to, be good to people by your dad. You're trained to focus on paying attention to people. So that makes me even more convinced that the relationship process is actually the way to go, because your life is more meaningful. You get to help people. There's a lot more contribution that's out there. What would you say if someone is just starting out in this whole networking, relationship building thing? Where could they begin? Where could they start?
Listen more and talk less. So I think the first thing is, are you really listening to the person, or you are trying to listen out for some sales angle? Because for survival, most of us are taught like, oh, listen to this person. If you find an angle, go in faster, go in and try to sell something.
Right.
Yeah, but I think that you really need to give yourself some time to learn about relationship, because especially the younger generation, I also do training. I also provide some training for the younger consultant. But they are all keyboard warriors. They are not good at one-to-one. So it's like the basic eye contact. They can't maintain eye contact. They got to look left, look right, or they stammer. The interaction skill is so poor. I think that is because so I think you need to get that right first. Once you get that right and you enjoy talking to people, make yourself enjoy talking to people, and by learning from them, by listening to their life story, listening to what they have to share with you, then I think naturally people can feel sense of sincerity, and naturally you will be able to share with them what will be good for them, and they might trust your buy from you. So
that's a very interesting structure, because as you're talking, I'm building out the building blocks from an NLP perspective. You know that NLP is about modeling, right? So I'm obviously doing the model for you, and it's quite fascinating, because you're really looking from a social lens rather than a analytical lens. I know a lot of financial consultants, they approach it from a statistical, oh, you are how old, and then this is how amazing this data is, and then provide a huge amount of data. But yours is different from the standpoint of just simply looking at a person as a human being, looking at their needs, right? Looking at how you could help. Maybe you can't help, and that's a question I want to get to. What do you do if you can't help the person? But the idea behind keyboard warriors is actually so true. In fact, it looks like you've been very well versed in adapting from the offline to the online eye contact as well. Where did that come from?
Because I'm more particular with visual and videos, right? So especially I think I'm a very selfie person. So I'm very particular. I will always point to people, hey, you must look here. Then everybody eye contact will be like facing the lens. Otherwise they will look at the screen, and then the pictures will turn out like, oh, their eyes are not focused and things like that. So to me is then I have to, so now I get all the equipments to make sure that it's at my eye level, it's right in front of me. And I'm not looking at you at the screen, I'm looking at the camera. But so I got a dual screen. So I put your face right behind my camera, so I can. So it's like your face is, even though it's still blur, but I know that what you're seeing on screen is more important than what I'm seeing on my screen.
Of course.
So yeah, so that's how I 眼神是灵魂之窗嘛. So yeah, I think you just feel weird if I'm looking down and you're looking at me just talk. I just feel weird. I feel weird myself.
Okay, that's an indication in my opinion that you've got actually pretty high EQ, right? The social awareness is very high. Okay, so here's the interesting question that I wanted to dive into. If you are faced with meeting, it's a business meeting. Let's say you know that the client has agreed or the prospect has agreed, come and meet you, but on that day itself, for some whatever reason, right, the client's emotionally just off, whether depression or whatever it is. I'm sure you've encountered such situations before.
Yep.
What's the okay? That's very weird. You green screened out your cup. So yeah, suddenly you're carrying a ghostly object. So when you encounter such a situation where the emotions are off, it's not something that you expected. What happens then in the conversation?
You mean the client, right?
Yeah, because you expected it to be a business conversation, but obviously it doesn't look like it's gonna go the way you want. What do you do?
4个字，以人为本. So still focus on the person. You know, it's still. I mean, like if you don't feel like talking about my work, it's okay. Or maybe if you would like to share with me what happens to you or what happened, you know, what I can offer, I know that at this point of time is a listening ear.
Right.
And so I would not talk about. I mean, like business can wait. To me, I feel that business can always wait. The person is feeling upset now. The person is feeling down. It is important to address. Yeah, so I will, for me, I'll just drop everything. I'll just say that, you know, I don't even take anything off of my back. Just talk. And I want the person to talk to me. Right. And
and listen.
And listen, really listen, because I last time I used to give a lot of opinion. Yeah, you shouldn't do that one. You know, become very like Mr. Fix-It kind of person. But now I feel that sometimes you just let them talk first, lah. Then it's the advice is unsolicited. So not needed. So so I just listen. I will listen because it really happened recently. It just happened. Then you know, was just talking, and we're supposed to come out and talk about the policy. Suddenly she broke down, and you know, I feel that I said, hey, because I look at her, I know that something is not right already. The very first moment I saw her, I know something is not right. So I didn't even try to take anything out, even though we are supposed to like come here to sign the case, the things. So then she just shared, you know, shared about her career, shared about her stuff. Then so I just let her share. It took her about an hour plus, and then she feel better.
So say, hey, not just a financial consultant, you're also a counselor.
No, I don't say counselor, but a friend with a listening ear.
Right.
So, yeah.
So I trace back your history. You left Pru in 2016, right?
2016, yes.
2016. So now is only like 4 years into the future.
Coming to 4 years, yes.
Coming to 4 years, less than 4 years even, right?
Less than 4 years.
How the heck did you manage the top 5 finalists for your in Asia?
Okay, I think professionalism is everything to me. So meaning I believe that relationship is the key to open the door.
Okay.
But to be able to walk through the door and stay in the house, you meaning you need to have some, you know, substance. You need to be good at what you're doing. So to me, professionalism means a lot. And my practice is very transparent. So I would like even do up my proposal and send to my client first before the second meetup. And I tell my client that, you know, don't be burdened. Like, if you ask me, you must buy for me.
Right.
So I have this very transparent way. I work this manner since the first day I'm here, and I'm very blessed that you know, I serve a few many clients that are very supportive towards me, and a few, when I know about this thing, I ask some of my clients, hey, would you write me a nomination, you know, or nominate me, select. So I have quite a couple of clients who wrote, and they wrote long essay. Really, when I look at the message, not 不是敷衍我 you know, it's really they ask me, they will come and ask me back about the things I do and what they contribute to society, because there's a CSR component also. So then I'll tell them what I do. No? So when they came back with like 2 pages long kind of nomination, right? They still ask me, I said you take a look first. I say, no need, like, you know, because I'm not a judge. I say, you don't need to send me, like, I'm not going to, because I say, I personally like authenticity. I say that I don't want you to add certain things or alter certain things to make me look better, you know. I want it to be like who you see me to, who am I, and how you see me and how you view me. So they wrote, so when I saw the letter, I can tell you I melted. Like, wow, like, I felt that I won already. Actually, I never sent it. I said I win already. I won. I feel that I win already. So, but when the news came, because I know that there are some really strong competitors inside there, and my credential wasn't really that strong as compared to them. So when I got in, I was like, wow, and I was like really thankful. Yeah, and like Steve Jobs says, right, you cannot connect the dot forward, but you can connect backwards, right? So then I start connecting to things like, hey, why I go and start this thing called Dignity Day in 2012? It's my personal CSR. You know why I do cash flow games to teach people financial literacy. I do a lot of things. I do a lot of things. I start to realize, hey, all these things actually helps. It just helped me to get to something bigger. So when I have to explain myself, introduce myself, shamelessly, I wrote everything that I have done, for the past so many years. And then I send it up. Then, of course, to top it off, to make sure that because after that, when I was nominated, right, I supposed to write a 1,200 word essay. This is the part that my wife came into the play. I wrote whatever I wrote, June really utilized 1,200 words. And to make it so impactful, because she's so good at writing, right? And she's my English teacher. So, of course, the benefit of having the English teacher as your wife is to ask her to edit everything. So sometimes you see those professional posts, I say, hey, how come you sound so professional, but all written by my wife?
Yeah, so it sounds like you tag team a lot now. It's actually a very wonderful team. I would say, back at home, right?
Yeah.
And also in business. What's June doing these days? I saw she's doing up some like YouTube videos and things like that, right, for parents.
Okay, so she used to be a part-time actress. So but with so many children, she can't go for the gig. Then she also stopped MC. She also stopped all this all the performance. She likes singing, so she make a lot of sacrifices now. And then for a long time she's been dabbling with the ideas whether she should do video on parenting. And I encourage her. I encouraged her for years already. So she decided that she said that maybe with 5 kids I should tell people, teach people about some parenting, give people some parenting tips. And I'm really happy that she did it. And so now she's doing video content for parenting, and that's what's keeping her, because anyway we are all at home. And with 5 kids, for her to take any gig, I need to be at home. So there's a lot of coordination to be done. Yeah. So she sacrificed her career and her work for the family. Yeah.
That's I suppose it's the phrase that there's always behind a very successful man, the woman. So she's that woman for you.
She is.
So this is
she actually helped me a lot in my business also. So when it comes to management stuff, or when it comes to direction, business stuff, we also discuss with her. So like, should I do this? Should I spend money on this? Should I spend money on that? Because it involves finance. So I also want to have a blessing. I don't want to go ahead like, oh no, I need to put this advertisement, I need to do this Facebook ad, I need to spend this money. Then, oh no, last time I used to be a bit like that, like I earn the money, I need to spend money back in business. Hey, come on, I have to do it. Don't make so much noise. But after a while, it is always good to have someone to check with, and bounce off ideas and ask her, do you think I should do this or do that? They say do that. Why? Then she say do that. I say okay. Then I say okay lah, just do that lah. Since I personally don't have a very strong preference, but otherwise then we go into like kind of debate or a discussion, but and then we come out with something. So she helped me a lot in my work, and when it comes to some major decisions, she's always involved also. I'll involve her.
Yeah, that speaks to the nature or the dynamism of the team back at home also.
Oh yeah.
I can trace it back based on what you said to even the kind of respect that you have been inculcated in your childhood, especially since you are so-called the younger one. I'm hearing a little bit about this thing called ego.
Yep.
I don't know whether you would say that in your younger version of yourself had a bigger ego compared with now.
I think that is called immaturity. Yeah, because when you're immature, you think that you're very smart, you think that you're very good, and you think you want to do the things you want to do, lah, you know. And yeah, you don't need to seek anybody's opinion.
So what changed? What caused that to change?
I think I think I come to recognize that there are only so much. You know, I don't want to be myopic. I can be quite myopic in my views. So I tell myself I should be receptive to more views rather than just jump in straight to do something and get something done. You know, and then end of the day, it's not even well done. It's like half baked cake, and I got to scrap it. So rather than that, I because I with so many kids also, like, you know, I it slows down my action, so it gives me more time to think. Since I want to have more time to think, then I better get another party to come in and give me other views. Yeah. So nowadays when I do things, I will ask for opinions, validate a little bit before I jump into it. Yeah.
What was there any cost to moving very fast previously?
Cost to moving very fast, as in
like what was there any consequence of like going so fast and like as you
waste
say,
money, waste resources.
okay,
Waste money, waste resources, waste time, law. Then yeah, and then you bang into a wall.
right.
Yeah, many times, really. So the things, those things are good things. You see, it's just that you never plan the follow up action, and what's next. I haven't planned what's next. I say jump first, do first. You know, so when I do already, something comes along the way. Then I suppose I have a second step to handle this, but I don't have. Then I will start to get into this panic mode and set up something and spend a lot of time to get the things done. So everything is very messy. Yeah.
So
Because by nature I'm a very action person. I jump into things very fast.
yeah,
I'm not a planning person, but while June is a very planning person. She plan out, strategize out first, then execute.
match made in heaven lah. So you blended together very nicely, which is
yes.
I think that's why it's the foundation of almost all the things. For those who are parents on the call, it sounds to me like the way you have managed is because there's a very nice lineage. Your dad had the right priorities, and that passed it down to you. And then this is continued in your family, not just your family. I'm seeing it as having a very overarching effect on the rest of the kinds of relationships that you have. So it's not just about okay, here's a number, here are how many in the pipeline, here's the financial figures and so on. Those may be important, but like you say, what is left as part of this relationship building process? Because if we're just an empty shell, even though we may have plenty of numbers in a bank account statement, right? But it may just not mean very much, lah. You know, so it's a very fascinating interplay of all of the ways you think. So I'm picking out some of your value sets. I'm picking out your sense of identity, and this is something that I will do. You know, for those of you who are on the call live with me right now, the subsequent video that I'll be doing is, you know, really going through James's sharings, and then to sort of like dissect it a little bit, you know, psychological dissection, I call it. So you break it down into some of the components that make James the way he is, as what I would consider to be a model of excellence. Not very many people understand this. In fact, not many people can find a pathway to success, in my opinion, without doing some of what James is doing. In fact, it may be one of the missing links to a sense of greatness around them, because people find it so hard to relate. I suspect it's also because there's this distinction. What I've noticed is that, James, you are putting yourself out there, whereas a lot of people, when they encounter problems, they put themselves inside, right? They go inside and then they stop, they shut down, which doesn't sound like what you're doing. Instead, like when you say, waste time, waste money, and bang into a wall, and then now you've come to realize that rather than being on the inside and, okay, this is my decision, is now to go out and say, hey, what do you think about this idea? Do you think it will work? One follow-up question to that, though, is what is the how slow is slow for you, actually? When you say slow down, how, compared with last time, what do you have to go through in order to slow down to a better decision?
Okay, because right now when let's say I want to do something, I give you an example, like, during COVID session, or even non-COVID lah, when let's say in the evening, if something hits me, last time I still have the time to do it, because I'm in the office or I'm alone, I can straight away, like, try to search the net, and like, let's say I got this idea to send out these flyers to everybody, example, then I'll start to search. I do jump into it and start looking at it and start thinking of how to do it. But now in the evening, I will have to feed my children, so I would have to think. But I was constantly disturbed by the fact that I have to communicate with my children and get everything in order. Then after getting them finish the dinner, right, I still have to wash up the whole kitchen, and then I still have to bathe them. Then I still have to make them sleep. So by the time when I decided I want to do something, I said tomorrow that I think. so I think so. Yeah. So like in the past, I really, when I'm alone, I can really just jump into things. Even if I have 1 or 2 kids, I still can jump into things, because my June will be taking care, and I'm still free again. But now different. Now, the attack comes. They will flank me left, right, center. Or later number 3 cry. Later number 2 got problem. Later number 5 wants me. Or so slow in the sense that it takes me quite a while to even get things started, to really say that I can do this. Because now even I say that I want to do it, I might not have the time to do it. Right. So yeah, it's much slower in the sense.
So it's those are the circumstances probably that pull you back. But what gets you, okay, so there, like you mentioned, there were major decisions that you had to make, right? What in your mind makes a good decision, especially where family is concerned? What is criteria? How do you know not to move ahead? How do you know when to pull back? How do you know that, okay, this opinion is not valid? How do you move forward with your own opinion, and so on and so forth? What's the dynamic that goes on there? How do you know that a decision is good? What criteria do you use?
Okay, a good decision will be a decision that Jun also agree. Say, okay, I think this is a good idea, so let's do it. 不听老婆言，吃亏在眼前, right? So you better listen to her, and if she cannot, if she in situation whereby she cannot really, she don't disagree. Just in the situation whereby she cannot say that, oh, I think we can just go and do it. She will ask me to think about it again. So then I will have to. Then from there, I really have to, based on gut feel, and just go lah. Because I whether is it good or not, I think I believe things can be always adjusted. Can be adjusted towards adjusted towards what I want to go, where I want to go, and what I want to achieve. That's just like whether is it a good, but there's a lot of deliberation and there's a lot of thinking and consideration put in before. Okay lah, I'm going to do this. Yeah. So now the process is I will talk to my wife. So if she agrees, good. Okay, can look at how to implement it. If cannot, then I will really go and think over for a week or so. Yeah. So and now because now I realize, right, I'm slowed down by all my family life and stuff like that. I'm not frustrated. I'm not frustrated because I tell myself don't rush into making decision. So I just tell myself, give myself some time to think, what's the difference of launching this now and launching this 1 month later? Yeah, I could potentially earn lesser or someone can potentially come out and do the same thing. You know, there are so many things, but I should focus on my priority, which is feed my kid, make them sleep, and settle everything, and make sure I have all my paperwork done, make sure everything else is done. I really have some free time. I sacrifice my PlayStation time. Then I
Mm.
go and do. Then I go and do it. Or think about it. Yeah.
Tell me a bit about what. Okay, so in your mind, you've got a certain image of who is June, right?
Mm.
Your wife.
Mm.
Who is she to you?
Who is she? The person that I love. The Who is she? I think she's my angel in life. Really, without her, I think I cannot accomplish this much. And without her sacrifices, I don't have what I have today.
Mm.
So I'm really thankful to have her in my life. And and yeah, so to me, she's my angel in my life.
Wonderful, very nice.
And I learned something because we do have, you know, there was some point that we do have the relationship was quite bad. So, but we also learn. I also learn this thing that never let any external thing comes in between us, as been come in between the love between us. Because no matter what, she loves me. You know, she can scold me or like, or disagree with me or scold me or whatever, or you know, I can shout at her or whatever. But end of the day, we still love one another. We still love each other. So that nothing should come in between that love. So we can shout it out. We can you know, talk it out, and then but the next moment, okay, nothing. Everything is, you know, everything is over. So back to our we are still a lovely couple, loving couple. Yeah. So that becomes very apparent, and we practice that a lot.
It's
So
lovely.
sometimes, yeah. So sometimes my children also were like very scared, like wow, the two of them quarrel until like very strong, right? Like wow, like but Papa mommy is going to have a fight. Then the next one they see that we are like sitting down there hugging each other, talking. Yeah.
Well, that's interesting also because I suspect that that models the way for your children in the future because the worst thing that can happen is that your children don't learn anything because
Mm.
everything is done behind closed doors. They don't even learn how to deal with conflict. They don't even learn how to cope with an argument, you know. So I think that's wonderful. I think it's also nice to hear that there's this. And you know, I when I was uh, letting people know I was doing this interview, I was very
Mm.
mindful of the fact that look, five kids cannot be that he's a single father doing this all on his own. And I wanted to also accord a little bit of respect to June because she's quite, shall I say, instrumental as far as I hear. From what I'm envisioning, you see her as also a go-to person. She's almost like the first point of contact, almost like your de facto coach, consultant,
Yes.
helper, and so on and so forth. So it's almost like for somebody to actually create a well-balanced family, the spouse needs to be able to be that person, right? And that is built over the years of understanding one another. And I suppose if if okay, so I got to be very honest. After the last 46 years of my life, I'm not even sure whether I know myself fully. If I want to go and learn about someone else fully, there's sure to be some of these conflicts, right? So the interesting thing you mentioned is that one of your modes of thinking is doesn't matter if let's say someone overtakes your business or does something else that you wanted to do and things like that, there's always a prime time for adjustment. But I'm also seeing that happening inside your relationships, that you know, whenever there's an argument or conflict, there's a pivot point, but you always have your true north, your compass, which is pointing towards love for family, which I really really admire. So thank you very much. Yeah, yeah. Some of you are actually making some interesting comments about uh, you know, no need to rush,
Yeah.
things like that. So yeah, I think this has been a very enriching interview. I suppose we could dive in even more because to me it's like multifaceted. It's not. I suspect that some people may wonder why I spend so much time asking about. Actually, to be fair, I think I need to thank you, James, for even being willing to dive into some of these very intimate spaces. Not everybody will accede to something like that, but because you are quite wholesome, you're the super dad. So uh, what that meant, I think to me is like there is so much consistency across the way you behave in your work. Your professionalism is not just a work career thing. It is a James Yeow thing. It's not a financial consultant thing. It's a James Yeow thing. So I feel that goes over and above just a job. I've seen a lot of people who are just in a job and they don't really take pride or joy in it. And I suppose sometimes for those of us who are on, I suppose sometimes we end up that way also once in a while. But I hope that it's enlightening. Is as enlightening for you as it has been for me to hear some of these strategies for managing life and putting oneself out there so that you can be a benefit to the world. So James, thank you very much for that.
Thank you. Thank you.
For everybody who's on, I don't know, James is. We have kind of like overshot the time. I think we're past about 10 minutes past, given my technical faux pas in the morning. So about 10 minutes past. I just want to find out if anybody in the audience today, right now, has a burning question that you want to ask James before I let him go. Okay, if you guys who are still on, you feel that you've benefited from James sharing, could you just give some love, either in a reaction or just type in love in the chat? Just so that as far as I'm concerned, I feel that today's session has been, in a sense, overwhelmingly beneficial as far as my understanding is concerned. So I really appreciate that. Thank you very much. So if there are no questions, you will look forward to the replay. I will be putting up the replay. I'll be tagging it and sort of like making it a little bit more orderly, just simply out of respect for James' time. I think James has really put himself out there, not as I've seen a lot of people wanting to demonstrate that they're very smart, well, I'm a wealth manager, asset manager, etc. But it boils down to the basic foundations of relationship. So I will be going through a more detailed analysis of this entire situation, of this interview. I'll even be combing through a transcript. So you guys will probably look forward to that in due course. Again, time is not always on our side, but we do what we can within the limits of our abilities. Okay, so once again, everybody, thank you so much. This is Stuart Tan. For those of you who don't know me, thank you so much for coming on this call. And thank you very much to my guest, James, and I'm sure June is somewhere in the background. Thanks, June. And thanks all the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for for having built out this amazing and sculpting this amazing dad who has got a lot more, in my opinion, that can offer to this world. All right, so enjoy the rest of the day and have a happy weekend, everybody. I look forward to having you guys on subsequent sessions. All right, take care.
Thank you. Thank you, Stuart. Thank you, everyone. See you.